What's up, everyone? Thomas here with ForReel, where we are only days away from our next big film festival adventure, Sundance Film Festival. ForReel has been privileged and honored to cover Sundance virtually for the past couple years, but this is the very first time ever that we will actually be in Park City on site for the festival, and I am super excited about it. But as fun as film festivals are, there is nothing that brings me more joy than to go to major film festivals like this with friends. So allow me to introduce the team that will be going to Sundance. First up, he is an infinity pool filled with great opinions on film. We have Taylor Beaumont.
Hello, and thank you for that amazing introduction. Super excited, of course, to be on the road with you gents again. Of course, Thomas with you again. Sorry, and Marty for the first time. I'm just thrilled to bits that we're going to touch down in Sundance soon. Be in Park City, walk in the streets, hopping from theater to theater. Can't wait. It's gonna be sick.
Cannot wait. It's gonna be cool. And next up, as Taylor just mentioned, he might not be Onyx the Fortuitous, but with his interest in horror films, he just might have a talisman of souls. Making his debut appearance on ForReel video content, I am happy to introduce to you Marty Millman.
Hi, I am literally like shaking my boots. I'm so excited for Sundance. I can't believe it's like less than or like a week away. Like, oh my God, like it's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait. It's gonna be soul-sucking but amazing, and it's gonna be the best week of my year. I know it.
I'm sure, right? And it's wild. Like, I can't believe Sundance is so close. I think last week I was thinking, yeah, we're about a month away, right? No, 2 weeks away? Oh man, I got to get ready. I went shopping on Sunday because I have no winter clothes. And so I had to go shopping
I just bought snow boots. I bought a nice jacket. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, gotta bundle up, boys.
Gotta bundle up for sure. Well, just some basic information about Sundance. If you don't already know, Sundance this year is a hybrid festival following the hybrid format and running from January 19th to the 29th. It has over 100 feature films programmed, and of course, tons of shorts, talks, experiences, and activities to do in person, and as well as a bunch of programming, like a whole lot of programming that you can buy tickets for online if you're here in the States. I'm pretty sure the tickets go on sale, as this will be posted on the day that tickets go on sale, January 12th. You can pick out your online and in-person tickets there for general public, and that is at festival.sundance.org. So yeah, that's the basic information about Sundance. And here's the thing, guys. These trips are so cool and they're so awesome. But if you would like to support us going on these trips and bringing you content at these film festivals, I would encourage you to do so. We have a link on the website. If you go to thisisforreal.com, and just under the big Sundance header that I have at the top, there's a link. If you feel so inclined, we would greatly appreciate any support that you can do for us as a team in supporting our journey to Sundance. Any contribution is greatly appreciated, and I mean, it could be anything that you feel comfortable with, even if it's just $5 for a cup of coffee. Like, we could use as much caffeine as possible on this trip. So once again, go to thisisforreal.com. The link should be close to the top of the page that you can go and support our journey to Sundance. So all right, let's jump into some conversations, guys. I want to start with, because this is something that I think about before I go into every festival, and I know kind of how I feel about it, but I really wanted to get your guys's take on how you enter a film festival. What are you looking for? Without mentioning any particular movies in particular yet, we'll get to that. But what are you looking for in the programming at Sundance this year? Taylor, let's start with you. What is it that you are seeking out in the selection of films?
Well, this is a good question, but admittedly a tough one. I was, I've quibbling over a lot of things. Obviously, you know, I want to see something that's, you know, challenging, stimulating, something that excites me, you know, something that maybe weirds me out or makes me feel uncomfortable. I like films because it does all these things for me. But my very generic answer is, you know, I'm looking for films that I can soon call my favorite films. That I want to put in my collection, that I want to continue talking about for months and months to come, for years and years to come, that I want to excitedly, you know, spread to other people and get them seeing these films too. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. And, you know, beyond my own selfish reasons, I'm just kind of hoping that the festival yields many films that gets lots of people buzzing, gets a lot of people talking and excitedly sharing this and that. And yeah, just something that creates a good energy is really what I look for in a festival for sure.
Yeah, I love all of that. Marty, what do you think going into Sundance? What are you looking for?
I'm looking just for something different, something that breaks the formula, that's different than anything I've ever seen before, and kind of gets me thinking in a way that I haven't thought before, in examining a story that I haven't heard before. That's what I'm most interested in, because so many films I love and adore, but it follows the same kind of path that a lot of other movies have done before. So I want to see something that breaks barriers and really hits me or the rest of the audience on like a deeper level, and is like, hey, like, we're just here to tell you about this story that you don't know, but you're going to come to love and think about for the rest of your life. So
Yeah, I second all of that you guys said. Movies have that kind of power, right? Like that's why we do this. There's so much power and emotional value and experience that you can have, you know, with any given film. And so film festivals, at least for me, are a really great opportunity to kind of like dig through what's new and what's you know, the emerging stories and emerging storytellers is also something that I really keep an eye out for. But you know what I'm looking for, which I look for every year at Sundance, is that movie that I just will not shut the fuck up about for the next 12 months. These last couple years, I've definitely had movies that just lived in my brain rent free for the entire year, and all I could do is just talk about the film over and over again. Even when people can't watch it yet, I'm just like, keep an eye out for it. This year, of course, if you know me, I talked everyone's ear off about Cha Cha Real Smooth, which debuted at Sundance this year. Last year, I talked everyone's ear off about Flea. And those are the 2 years that I've covered. But even years before that, I look back and see which movies that I loved in years before that, when I wasn't covering Sundance, and realizing how many movies that I love come from Sundance or debut at Sundance. So I'm looking for that. I need the movie that I will be talking about endlessly from now until the next award season, so and beyond. So that's something that I am optimistic about finding, looking through the schedule over and over and over again. There's a few titles that I think could do it, and maybe even some that I don't expect to. I mean, that's typically how it goes every year. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Sundance is great because it'll have those films that I think really set a good tone for the year and get us just like really amped for more things to come. About, you know, obviously amped about the film that we saw, but also about like things to follow. But yeah, no, Thomas, I hear you. We're looking for the films that will basically turn us insufferable. You know,
that's a really great way of putting it, because I will own that for sure.
Yeah.
One more question before we jump into specific movies that we're looking forward to. Since we will be there in person, I am curious to know what you guys are looking forward to most about your Park City experience and in-person Sundance experience, maybe outside of films. Marty, what do you think? What are you most excited about experiencing in Park City?
well, this past year I've like met a lot of like really nice, loving people in the Twitterverse. And it's like, I just like, I want to meet these people in person and like go up to them and be like, oh my God, like, I love your reviews. I love your mind. I love the way you think about films. And like, get to know this person in person. Because like some of these people, like I literally just see their little avatar, their little headshot, and their reviews and the way they talk about films, and I'm just like, I'm in awe of you, and I'm excited to meet these people in person and get to know them. And I'm also excited to get the experience. The only in-person film festival I've done was the Savannah Film Festival, and like I was lucky enough to go to a college, Savannah College of Art and Design, who hosted a festival like that. So I have this small experience, and Sundance is so big and so grand. Like I'm excited to see what being at a festival is like on this bigger scale in a city I've never been to, in some crazy snowy weather, and just get a new experience in life, just with people, with experience, with film, like all of this grandness that I get to experience and start my year off with. Like if I start my year off with here, like what else is there to look forward to, you know? So like I'm excited for what's to come.
I'm excited that you're going too. This is such a cool experience for us to all be able to kind of convene on Park City. And I think you're right. One of the things I was going to say is meeting people that I know online in person. I'm already setting up appointments with people. Like let's go ahead and get it on the calendar. Let's get it booked so that we can make it happen. But that was certainly my experience with TIFF. It was really cool meeting certain people that I've only known online or have only corresponded with online, and actually get to sit down with them and have conversations about movies and what we are all watching. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Taylor, what are you looking forward to in Park City?
Oh, it's hard to top that answer. And honestly, the original answer I was thinking of was film related. I was just going to say that I was hoping to kind of get at least one or two like panel discussions in there. The box at the Ray Theater features some really cool panels and conversations. There's one about filming in Canada that I'm really interested in. It's funny that I would have to go to Sundance to learn about film in Canada, but I just feel like it'll be an interesting discussion. Obviously, it's more geared for filmmakers in the U.S. and filming in Canada and how that works. But I just kind of want to get that perspective on things as well, just to kind of open up my eyes to how filming does take place in Canada. But beyond that, really just excited to, be on the streets with you guys, running around, maybe hit some après-ski lounges or something, have some drinks, talk some good film, find somewhere on the street where I can hide and just whip snowballs at celebrities. I don't know. Excited for it all.
I love the ambition there. If you can just I don't know, get Joseph Gordon-Levitt's attention, that would be great.
Yeah.
At him.
Yeah, that's the key. I'll hit them with the snowball, and then you come in and you're like, "Oh my God, Joseph, you okay?
Are you okay? Let me help you, and let me introduce you to my team. We're cool. Hang out with us."
Yeah. I'll put on the disguise so they don't know that it's me throwing the snowballs. And then
we've got it figured out.
I'll just spend the whole time talking about Looper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yes, all of those things. Again, I second all of that. I'm glad that we're all kind of on the same page with what the value that Sundance brings to what we do as critics and as film connoisseurs and everything like that. So those are really great answers. I am looking forward to all of that as well. But really, I think the essence of what you guys are saying is I'm looking forward to the experience. Sundance is a hybrid festival, and there is opportunity for us to cover it remotely, which we've done the past couple of years. And to all the journalists out there covering remotely, I know it's still a grind. Props to you guys for still taking on Sundance and covering all these films and doing the work that you do. So definitely a shout out to all the journalists and people covering Sundance's press, whether in person or online. But I was very intent on making Park City happen because it's hard to explain the energy and the electricity that happens at film festivals. And I know that we have VIFF here and we have SIP here, and those are fun festivals as well here locally in the Pacific Northwest. But I think, you know, what I learned when we went to Toronto is that these really big festivals, these are really, really cool things to be in person and a part of physically. And so while I do hope that festivals continue to keep this virtual component to it, and allow access to the festivals remotely for those who need that kind of accessibility. This was one that I really wanted to get to and be a part of, because it's just always been a dream of mine to attend Sundance. And I know at the beginning of last year, like 12 months ago, I you know, we're covering Sundance, and I'm thinking it'll be another couple years before, you know, I finally actually get to Utah for that. And I was off by a few years. It just took one. So, so you know, I'm very thankful that you guys are also making this work and fitting it into your schedule. It's going to be so cool to be there with you guys and having this experience, and we're going to have a good time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah, so let's talk about some of the films that we are looking forward to, and we'll try to get through as many of these interest titles that we're interested in as possible. But yeah, Marty, let's start with you. What is just one of the films, because I know that we all have kind of a most anticipated film, but just give me one that you are generally looking forward to, maybe an honorable mention that that you'd like to point out to people that you are wanting to see.
One of my most excited is Cat Person. Like, I really like, so the woman who wrote the original short story that got really big on the New York Times is Kristen Ropeninan. Sorry if I butchered her last name, but she did the screenplay for Bodies, 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 which I still gag over to this day. He's a Virgo moon. And so like the story is basically about how like Gen Z people interpret dating nowadays and online dating and how we converse over the phone, and you don't understand this tone and you're like, okay, I totally perceive this person this way, and then they say one thing and it's like, oh, I totally have a completely different view of you. You're just fully kind of going crazy, over analyzing every situation, taking every comment personally. And it's got such a great cast. We've got Amelia Jones, she was just in Coda. We've got Isabel Rossellini, who doesn't love Isabel Rossellini? Hope Davis, Nicholas Braun. I still have yet to see Succession, but I loved him in Sky High. So I feel like it's gonna be a great cast, fun time. And I've just been really digging these Gen Z films that feel like they're for Gen Z, because so many projects, it's like they're aimed towards my audience, but they're written by people who are on the older side of the millennial, who still don't understand the lingo and the language and the vibe. And I'm excited to see people who understand the weird kind of talk that we have and the way that we perceive the world and we talk about it. And I feel like it's going to be a very interesting, kind of weird romantic comedy that I've ever seen. But yeah, I think that's going to be a fun one.
Nice.
This is certainly a high priority for me as well. It does seem really interesting, yeah, for all the reasons that you've mentioned. But yeah, I do this thing when I go into movies, is that I avoid the synopsis. I kind of want to go in with a little as blind as possible, right? And so I look at the director and writer, I look at who's starring in it, I look at it, does it have a distribution studio and things like that. And I think the peripheral information about this movie around the synopsis is good enough for me to be like, yes, I want to see that one. You know. Taylor, do you have any thoughts on Cat Person?
No, Marty kind of touched on it all. But yeah, I'm gonna try to fit it in. It's not on my schedule currently, just with how I've kind of ordered everything. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see Amelia Jones in something again, returning to Sundance. And yeah, I also agree that, you know, films geared towards Gen Z. I'm going to use my Canadian, my Canadians coming out, obviously. Films that are geared towards Gen Zers, Gen Zers. You know, we like to see more of them. They're really interesting in that, yeah, they just have this new, almost like vocabulary to them, like kind of Marty was saying, that's, you know, some filmmakers are trying to get, and some of them are doing pretty well, but you know, it's obviously still some kinks that need to be worked out. But there are, like, bodies. There are some really exciting films that are coming out of that pool of filmmaking, and it's exciting. So yeah, I'll check this one out for sure.
Nice. Good pick, Marty. I'm happy we get to mention that one. All right, Taylor, what is on your honorable mentions list?
Well, I feel like it's too obvious for me to go with Infinity Pool here, because one, because of your intro, and two, because let's be real, we're all hyped as hell for that one.
Yes.
Okay.
But I am but I am gonna go with another Canadian film. This one's called My Animal. It's directed by Jacqueline Castel. And I'm trying to go in mostly blind, but the basic premise is that it's kind of a werewolf story set in a small northern town, which I assume is in Canada, centering on a woman who attempts to break free from her like oppressive family and, you know, the townspeople, when an alluring young figure skater appears at her local hockey rink. So yeah, it's the, you know, that premise kind of has me hooked. And also Castel, when I've read into her, and she just seems like a really interesting figure right now. She's doing a lot of music video work, and has directed for groups like Zola Jesus, The Soft Moon, US Girls, who are groups that I'm really into. And she's also worked on various projects with other big name directors such as John Carpenter, Jim Jarmusch, and even David Lynch. So she's like in the cut there with some really big name directors. And, you know, I feel like they valued her collaborations. So I feel that she could bring some really interesting ideas to her own project. The script is penned by Jay Matthews of the band Boy Harsher, who's another band, like a darkwave band that I'm really into. And yeah, oh yeah, and David Lynch collaborator Dean Hurley is on sound design. So it's just kind of taking a lot of boxes, a lot of things that just kind of really appeal to me. So that's one I'm checking out for sure. Although I might not be able to see it in person. I might have to do that online, unfortunately, but I'm gonna catch it for sure.
Cool. Nice. Yes, Marty, actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is on a list that I have to publish for you this week. Tell me more about your interest in My Animal.
So I am so excited. Lesbian werewolf movie, you have me sold. You literally have me sold. Like I can't wait. I'm seeing the P&I screening. I am 100% ready. Plus, it's got Malta Sternberg, and I adored her in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I actually got to meet her briefly when she was doing press for The Hate You Give. Sweetest, kindest, like I can't wait. And the main actress actually was in one of my favorite films ever. She was in Nocturnal Animals. And I feel like this is going to be a very fun, very dark. I'm kind of getting the vibe of almost The Novice, which I don't know I think it might have been at Sundance a couple years ago, or some festival a couple years ago, the rowing movie.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this is going to be very dark, very kind of art house out there. And I'm literally like itching for it. But yeah.
I'm trying to think. I feel like The Novice might have been Sundance.
It might have been. I've seen it.
Oh, Tribeca. That's right. It was Tribeca.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Okay.
But it got a lot of attention that year. So yeah. And yeah, My Animal. You know, what I recognize is that Sundance can put out some really, really good horror films, and you just never know which. At least I just don't know which ones are going to be like great films, but this sounds like it could be one of them. And so I'm excited to check out as much of the midnight program as I can, because again, looking for those horror gems is going to be fun. But this is certainly one that am paying attention to, especially with that kind of excitement about it from you two. So I appreciate that. Um, I am gonna go with a film that caught my attention when the program lineup was first announced, and that's Magazine Dreams. Again, I don't really dive too much into synopsis or details about the plot, but as far as I know, it's about a hyper dedicated bodybuilder who is kind of pushing himself to the extreme, and there's commentary about the toxicity around that, and also his challenge with having human connections, something along those lines. What really, there's a lot of credits that the writer and director Elijah Bynum that caught my attention. He, if I'm not mistaken, his last film, Hot Summer Nights, premiered at South by Southwest, which was cool, but also got picked up by A24. When I see A24, I'm paying attention, right? I did watch that one, and it's a good film. I'm interested in seeing what his style looks like in this particular type of story, but this is Elijah's sophomore feature film, and I guess both of his scripts for Hot Summer Nights and this Magazine Dreams were on the blacklist. That catches my attention, and maybe the biggest selling point here for me is Jonathan Majors producing and starring in the movie. I think that he is very intentional about the stories that he's interested in curating, and so it really, I pay attention when this is his first producing credit that he has, and so to me that signals like maybe this is something really special, and we'll see how that turns out. I think that he's probably really involved with making sure this is accomplishing the goal that it needs to, and so yeah, that is it's been high on my priorities list for since, like I said, since the program came out, and I'm very interested in seeing how this one turns out. So I don't know if either of you guys have Magazine Dreams on your interest list. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
Definitely.
you said, I try to go into most of these films very blind. Like that's the thing I appreciate about a festival the most is like you don't even have a poster out. No poster, no trailer, no nothing. Like we are going to be some of the first people seeing these movies. So it's like you have no kind of anybody giving you this is what this movie's going to be. This is what you should expect. Like you just got to go and as blind as possible and get to experience a story that you know this much about. So like just knowing that Jonathan Majors is going to be in it, it's going to be an interesting look at bodybuilding. Like I just feel like this is going to be an amazing character story that gets to show off his ability to lead a film. And I feel he has the power to do so. I saw Devotion a couple months ago, and his performance was fantastic to me. And I'm just ready to see a heavier focus on Jonathan Majors' ability to helm a story. And I don't know, I feel like that's definitely going to be a gem for the festival.
I really hope so. I have all of those same kind of inclinations as well, and I like what you said about being a good character study. You know, one of my biggest things when I'm looking for a film that I think I might like, movies that I like have a lot of character development and an interesting character arc and growth in the character or development of a character, and that's very important to me for enjoying a film. And I do think that this is going to have a very big focus on character and the progression of that character, maybe into something not so pleasant, but it's a journey, I think, and I'm super interested in that, especially with how Elijah wrote his main character in Hot Summer Nights. That was a really big arc from where the character starts to where he ends, and so going on that journey is really big, and I hope that same care and attention to character development is I expect that to be brought over into this as well.
100%.
Any interest in
Yeah.
this one?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you guys. I'm gonna catch this one for sure. I think it's gonna be a major festival highlight. I think this one could be one that really, really shakes things up, really gets people, that excitement that I was talking about earlier. I think this is really gonna generate that in the Sundance crowds. And yeah, Jonathan Majors, he's on a tear right now. Like from The Last Black Man in San Francisco back in 2019.
Mhm.
That was only just like 2-3 years ago now, and yeah, like he's come so far since then. Yeah, dude is shredded, so he's like the physicality in this performance is going to be off the charts. I think a lot of commitment from him, obviously, and then yeah, cool to see how his input on the producer side will fare as well. I'm really excited. Yeah,
For sure, for sure. Good talk there. I cannot wait for this one. All right, we've got our honorable mentions out of the way. Let's jump to our most anticipated film of the festival. Marty, we'll start with you. Let's come back around to you. What is your most anticipated film?
So my most anticipated is obviously we've already talked about how Infinity Pool is going to be amazing. We're all excited for Brendan Cronenberg's next film, but that's the most anticipated answer. So my next most anticipated film is Joyland, which Thomas, I think you've already seen and you love and
I did,
adore.
yes.
And I just keep hearing the most amazing things, but like I will literally read like a sentence or two of people's reviews on this because like I don't want to know. Like I'm like, okay, people are obsessing over this. I don't want to know the story. I don't want to know why. I don't want to know what about this film is so captivating to people. I just like want to go into it and love it and experience it. And not gonna lie, when I was first doing my Sundance list, I was just kind of like going through and I was like looking at just kind of the promotional pictures that they had.
Mhm.
And like Joyland caught my eye like immediately. And I was just like, this seems like a story I'd be interested in. And then I read a little bit more and then I was like, okay, I've read enough. And I was just like, okay, this seems like an interesting story to me. I feel like it's gonna be, I've always kind of been a fan of queer stories, especially ones that are a little bit more unorthodox than others. And I feel like this one is going to hit me in a very deep emotional level that I don't think a lot of films get to do. And I'm excited to see what it has to bring, but I'm trying not to set it up too high because you never want to have your films up here because then if you're shooting for the moon, where are you gonna land? So
Mhm. I will refrain from summarizing my review, and I'll also try to refrain from expressing how much I like this movie. It ended up in my top 15 for 2022. Yeah, it's that good in my opinion, and so I cannot wait to talk with you about it at Sundance.
okay.
I can't wait, for sure. Taylor, is this one on your radar at all?
Oh, totally. It was one I wanted to see at TIFF. I just
Mhm.
did not, unfortunately, get around to it. I think I just had to make some hard sacrifices with my schedule and
Mhm.
things got shuffled around. But yeah, I have heard nothing but good things about this film. I'm also kind of purposefully trying to not spoil anything for myself. I'm staying out of reading too deep into reviews and reading too much into, other details around plot. But yeah, like very excited and will go out of my way to catch this one for sure. It's been too long. I need to catch up. Get
Yeah,
on
no,
board.
fun. So, fun fact, I'm pretty sure it was shortlisted for best foreign language film for the Oscars.
Oh,
So,
Fantastic.
Slay.
yeah, right. Fingers crossed. I actually really hope it gets a nomination. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. I think it's that good. So, cool. Good selection. Taylor, most anticipated film for you.
I'm going with Shortcomings, directed by Randall Park, who we all know from his work, mostly as an actor. He's been in some Marvel films, some DC films, a lot of like Seth Rogen comedies and stuff like that. He also did the Always Be My Maybe, which has a spot in my heart because it's filmed in Vancouver, and he co-penned it, and it has some good, funny, heartwarming moments in it. But now he's doing the directing thing, and his feature film is this adaptation of this graphic novel that I'm very familiar with. I have it right here, actually, Shortcomings by Adrian Tomine. And yeah, it's been a story that I've been reading and rereading many times over. And I'm just really excited to see what he can do with it. Adrian, the author of the graphic novel, author and artist, is also co-penning, or sorry, not co-penning. He wrote the screenplay, so he's adapted his own work for the screen, which I'm really excited for, because he co-penned Paris 13th District, which was another film that came out 2021 that was also based on one of his graphic novels. Which is not called Paris 13th District. I think it has a different title. But anyways, so yeah, I'm really into this guy's work and really excited to see how this film comes to fruition. It's an Asian-led production, which is really exciting. It will help Randall Park herald the arrival of his new production company, which I gather is going to be a production company for lots of new TV shows and streaming content that's all Asian American and Pacific Islander kind of led, which is really exciting. So that'll help kind of usher that in. And yeah, the story appeals to me a lot. It deals with dynamics of relationships, and basically it tells the story of this guy, Ben. He's a film obsessive, so okay, that ticks that box. And his girlfriend moves out of town for a short while to pursue an internship, and while she's away, he gets into some business that he's obviously not supposed to, and starts pursuing women that he's not supposed to either. But it comments a lot on how gender dynamics, and just how relationship dynamics and all these things that we get into. And yeah, it stars Justin H. Min, who we will recognize as Yang from After Yang. So yeah, everything is just really speaking to me about this one. Really excited.
Sundance, get him a ticket to the premiere. He has the graphic novel. Get him a ticket.
Yeah, I'm gonna run around just showing this.
Honestly,
faces. Let me in.
Let me in. Very cool. This one popped up on my radar specifically because of you. You mentioned it and the graphic novel and everything, and so I was like, I should probably pay attention to this. So I don't know if I'll get to it in person, but I do have it high on my priorities list. If I don't do it in person, then online. But it does sound interesting, and I'm happy that you brought it to my attention. I don't know if I actually would have noticed it otherwise. Marty, any thoughts on Shortcomings?
Oh, I am dying to see it. First, I knew that Justin H. M is in it, and as we know, After Yang is like my up there from last year. Like, I saw that back in like January, February, and it has had its hooks in me since. Like, that film, I don't know what it's done to me, but it's just made me think about the way I experience life, the way I see my memories. And even though like his performance is so subtle and so calming and kind-hearted, like he blew me away, and I want to see more of him, and I'm so excited for this. Then Taylor, you were talking about how excited you are for this, and I was like, okay. And yeah, I saw the cast. I've seen much of Randall Park's films and the TV shows he's been in, and I just feel like this is going to be a very interesting film to dive into, because at first it was just like, okay, and then I kept hearing more and more and more, and I was like, oh, actually, who are you, Shortcomings, and why are you at the top of my list now? And plus, I don't know, I have this whole thing for Debbie Ryan ever since she did that weird interview about her cherry chapstick and Adele, and I'm just like, okay, this is going to be a very weird movie, and I'm so excited for it.
One of the reasons I really love doing this is to hear you guys' enthusiasm for a movie that I'm just now learning about, and so this is awesome for me, and I hope that translates to everyone out there. Hopefully maybe this will sell some Shortcomings tickets. Who knows? But apparently, I'm the one that's not in the know. So thank you guys.
There you go.
Good selections. All right, I'll round it out with my most anticipated film, which I strongly believe should be everyone's most anticipated movie at Sundance. This was a late edition announcement, and it's Flora and Son, which all you had to do was tell me John Carney, director of Sing Street, and I'm like, take my money. Sing Street is such a phenomenal film. So good. That movie hits me, in emotional places I didn't know I had every time I watch it. Like it just never wears off how great and how much I enjoy that movie and how just how it affects me every time I watch it. It's so good. I recently since this announcement, I recently went and watched Once, which is also so good. The last one I need to watch is Begin Again. I have not seen that one yet, but I'm going to before Sundance just to get hyped about Flora and Son. I'm not going to jump too much into the synopsis because I really want this to be like, something that I go into as blind as possible. But you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it, which is a huge selling point. For me, you have Eve Hewson in it as well. And I mean, the thing that I'll read this and maybe this will lock it down for anyone who isn't already sold on it. The end of the description that I have not read yet, just the last sentence says, it's a story of how music can re-energize a life and resurrect long dormant dreams, as well as a testament to the new connective tissues we grow in isolation. Flora and Son is an all-around revelry in the beauty of relationship. And if you've seen a John Carney movie, like that's everything that I need. He can make these movies forever and I will turn up for them every single time. It sounds like it's going to hit all the beats that I like in Once and in Sing Street, and then I'm going to like and Begin Again when I watch that. And I absolutely have to see this one at the festival. It's not available online, so I am happy that we'll be able to be there and that I can see it in a theater. And we'll see exactly what emotional places this movie hits me. I can't overstate how excited I am for this particular film. This very very quickly became my most anticipated film when it was announced, and I am excited to see it. So, any other thoughts on Flora and Son before I continue rambling about how thrilled I am to watch this movie?
I'll just say that admittedly the director's work is a bit of a blind spot for me. I don't think I've seen any of his films, although I think I've heard the most about, oddly enough, Begin Again. I think I read some things about or heard some hearsay about it or something. But Thomas, we're reversing roles here now because like me hearing you speak so excitedly about it has definitely sparked something in me as well. And I respect a lot of your opinions. Oh, I respect all your opinions as a reviewer, Thomas. So, definitely going to try to check this one out because it's got your stamp on it, and I appreciate that stamp. Well, I abide by that stamp.
Yeah, I appreciate that you appreciate that stamp. That's awesome, Marty. What are your thoughts closing this part of the conversation out?
Literally same what Taylor said. Like, this film wasn't too much on my radar. When it got added to the list, I was like, okay, I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like, I like 500 Days of Summer. I like Looper. Like, he's a cute, sweet guy. Like, he's fun. And then you're like, oh my God, I love this film the director's done. Oh my God, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's in blah, blah, blah. And then, like, what you said just recently about how the way that music affects people and how it changes relationships and there's always just growth in things. I was just thinking to myself about how much, especially in pivotal times of my life, how the music I listen to changes the way that I think about life. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm interested in dissecting this, thinking about this. And if a movie wants to kind of focus in on that niche, like I'm down to play. I think I've got this like at one of its like last screeners possible at the end of the festival, and I'm like trying to fit it in and get on the wait list. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I'm anything that you're excited for, I feel like I will be very excited for. So yeah, she's on my list.
I do appreciate that. I should just warn you guys, if you don't watch it, I will be unsufferable about this movie, and it's probably best that you just
Yeah.
that you just watch it so that you can just be unsufferable with me.
That's the Thomas guarantee.
Guarantee. I Marty, you said not to have your expectations way up here, but I can't help myself. I do. I think this is going to be the one that I'm going to talk about nonstop the rest of this year, and I expect nothing less. So I can't wait.
Keep shooting for that moon, baby.
Yes.
Keep shooting for that moon.
Very cool. Well, guys, I really appreciate this discussion and that we are able to talk about a few of our really highly anticipated films and what we're looking forward to at the festival. But we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I'll give you guys a chance to plug things because we are in the middle of publishing content about wrapping up 2022 and also projecting most anticipated of 2023. Marty, you have an article coming up about that. So anyway, just plug what you're doing. Taylor, we'll start with you. Any content you want to talk about or anything you have going on you'd like to let people know about?
Yeah, well, I've just recently published. I purchased my best picks. I published my top 10 of 2022, which can now be read on thisisforreal.com. Good old standard top 10 lists, but if you're interested in at all, I've got maybe some picks in there that might throw other, you for a bit of a loop, maybe some curveballs. So check that out. And beyond that, I'm resolving to just publish more this year. I know probably everyone says this at the beginning of every year, but I really am this year. Sundance is going to be a great way to get started on that, but I'm hoping to bring more content regarding Canadian film because that's always something I've kind of pushed for on the site. I'm going to be doing more of that. And hopefully bring some more writing on some weird old cult stuff as well that you may have never heard of. So look out for that.
Awesome. Yes, there are certainly curveballs on your top 10. I was thrown for a loop on one of them. You guys should go check out his top 10 list and find the curveballs. It's actually kind of fun. Marty, what do you have to plug?
I also have a list of films. It's my top 5 horror films of this past year, which I've already said is like the hardest thing to do. There's been like 10, 12, 15 of my favorite horror films as of recently come out. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I narrow this down? And then I had to narrow down my top 5 most anticipated for next year. Obviously, 2 being going to be at Sundance, My Animal and Infinity Pool. We're all excited for. But I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a great year for films coming up, and there's going to be a lot of really amazing releases. And I'm just excited to get to know you guys more and what you guys are interested in. And I'm excited for people to get to know what I'm interested in more, and people understand, I don't know, what niche films that I love that they should love too, and just kind of share the movie love.
Absolutely.
Well, I love that. That's great.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I do think that this is going to be a great year. Actually, I look back on 2022 with a lot of happiness for how good the programming was. Sorry if you hear stuff knocking around. Those are my guinea pigs. I actually really thought that you know my guinea pigs.
Yeah. I'm acquainted.
Yes. I thought that 2022 was a really good year for film. I had the hardest time narrowing down my top 10. And then when things spilled over outside of my top 10, I had a hard time narrowing down my top 20. Like there were so many films that I really liked and really enjoyed, and that really hit me in the ways that I want film to affect me and these the cinematic experience. So Having said all that, I'm actually almost done finalizing my top 10 list that I'll be publishing this week. So you can look forward to that. The website is going through some updates. So keep an eye out for new tabs and features on the website that you can engage with. The website, of course, being thisisforreal.com. That's where you can find all of our content, and that's where you can find our Sundance content is thisisforreal.com. You can also connect with ForReel on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at thisisforreal.
And most recently TikTok, Thomas.
And most recently TikTok. I'm kind of getting into that, right? Like I'm trying. It's not great yet, but I'm working on it. One of these days it'll turn out nice.
We'll
get in there. It's getting there. You got it.
I appreciate that, Marty. Thank you very much. We'll shape it up. It'll be good. And you're on TikTok as well, with your own personal account. So yeah, how can people, Marty, connect with you on TikTok and other social media platforms?
So on Twitter, we've got @Marty_Milkman, because I don't know, like I bring the boys to the yard. And then we've got on TikTok, bitter_glitter666, because I was once at Target and I saw a shirt that said bitter glitter, and I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever read. And it became my Instagram and TikTok username. So
I love it.
There's that.
I love it. Taylor, you want to plug your social media real quick?
Yeah, I'm at Best Reel. That's 2 T's on Best and REAL. That's what I'm at on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, with only 1 T on Letterboxd. Not on TikTok yet. I'll get there one day, or I'll make some guest cameo appearances in these fellas TikToks.
Probably will. Yep.
Yeah, that's basically it. The standards.
The standards, right? And you can find me at being TSJ on Instagram, Twitter, the TikTok, Letterboxd, the social medias. I'm there. I'll also link everything in the description so you can follow us. Definitely keep up with us and keep up with our content. I'm really excited to be sharing what we're doing this year and the content we're going to be putting out and sharing opinions. That's what we like doing. We like having these conversations, and so we put our reviews out to share our opinions about films. But really, let's talk about movies, y'all. Let's do it. Let's message us and tweet at us and connect with us on Letterboxd. I mean, that's what building community is all about, and I think there's a very robust community with with what we do with film. So yeah, let's connect. All right. Cool. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me in this conversation. We are a week away from Sundance, and I cannot wait to connect with you guys over there and do the Sundance. It's going to be great.
See you guys on the slopes.
One week.
Yeah.
Until then, everyone out there, thank you for tuning in, and keep it for real.